concept of inherence. So which means we are clinging to our own concept rather than what?
Actual reality.
Actual reality, yes. So we all have this deeply ingrained concept or conception of what inherence. Of what? Inherence. Inherence of all things in object, yes. Yeah, that's clear. Any question about the interdependent? So here, interdependent origination is more than one being the cause and other being the effect. No?
Yes.
More than. The interdependent in terms of one being the cause and other being the effect is limited to
actual meaning of interdependence.
No, it's limited. The meaning of the interdependent origination only in terms of one being the cause and other being the effect is limited to what?
Growth.
One being the production.
One being the what? Producer and other being the what? Product. And they also, as I must say, it's very limited to what? To the what? Growth.
Yeah.
The understandings of the interdependent origination in terms of one being the cause and other being the effect alone cannot and will not help us to understand the meaning of emptiness at all. Many of the animals, the creature can understand one being the cause and other being the what effect. To see that, to understand that, to see that does not need or require what?
Yeah, deep thinking or
deep what? Analytic thinking. No need. Since it's very obvious. And that alone is not the meaning of interdependent origination. That alone will not help us to understand the emptiness, which is the way all things actually come into what? Being. All things come into being not because of things themselves. Has the what?
It's empty nature.
Has power to give birth to other things.
All things comes into being not because of the what? The things themselves having the intrinsic what?
Existence.
Nature. Rather, all things comes into being due to the what? Dependence on something what? Other than itself. Without depending or without dependent, right? Something other than itself, things cannot what?
Come into existence.
Coming into what? Existence, which means there's no what? Way and possibility for any particular thing to come into being as what? Sure. Without that being dependent on. The long, yes. Any question? Any question? Yes.
It really tells the difference, Geshe, between interdependence. I think the seed and sprout are, even the one is effect of the another, it doesn't really tell really the interdependence, because one is only a growth of the other one. There is no gap, there is no comparison on that one. So it is, but the other one you just explained, short being dependent because of against the comparison something long. It's very fresh way of looking at the interdependent arising.
Oh, there. That in the, again, yes, cause and effect, yes. Cause and what? Effect. Right. It's easier for us. Is what? Easier for us and more obvious and easier for us to see that effect cannot occur without the existence of the cause. Right? Right. However, it is not very obvious and easier for us to see that the cause cannot what exist without the existence or having the what effect. That's not very obvious. We think that, oh, that's not the case. The cause should what exist way before the what? Effect. Actually, no. Nothing can be seen as a cause, right, without relying on having an effect. No?
To rely on.
Oh. Rely or dependent on having and what effect. It's clear. That's not a what? Not a comparison. Not a what? Not a comparison. So if we think carefully, then how, right? How the cause cannot what? Exist, or how the something can what? Cannot exist as what cause
without relying on the
without need to rely on what?
Effect.
On effect. It's almost like what? An effect is not what? Freedom from not having a cause. Make sense? Do you get Grace?
Say that again.
An effect. An effect is not what? Freedom from not having a cause. Make sense enough? Huh?
It has to have cause.
Has to.
It's not
Oh,
free
it
from-
has to.
Must.
Freedom from
Must. Right? Whereas the what? Cause should have freedom from not having what? Effect.
That's how you see it.
This is how we see, no?
Yeah.
This is how we normally see. Oh, poor effect. There always what? Need of what? Cause. This we see. And the cause we see as what? Almost like a supernatural being. Right? Not dependent on anything else, right? Except its own what?
Self.
Self. So, what I'm trying to tell, even the cause and effect, right? There are many levels, how they are connected, how they are dependent on each other, for their very existence, of one being the cause and the other being the what? Effect. Without having a dependency, dependent, without having that natural dependency, that nothing can have absolute power to be cause or to be an effect. That's clear. So what I'm trying is that it's very clear and obvious for us to see that an effect is heavily dependent on what? Cause. And without having a cause, such called an effect is no way to what?
Occur.
To point or
No way to what take place.
Yeah.
No way to come into being. So we see that what heavily dependent, all right, on the what cause, right? Whereas on the cause, we don't see that way. The cause is almost like what is what?
self-standing, self.
Oh, it's almost like a self-standing, self sort of self-standing or self existent or self-generated as what?
Cause.
The cause. And for that to exist as a what cause is almost like what? Freedom from not having what?
Dependence on the effect.
Not having an
Existence
effect.
of the effect.
Whereas for something to exist as an effect, right, is always what?
Need of depending on the.
Need of what?
Depending on the.
Dependent or under the sort of control or under the power of what? Something else, which is the what? Cause. That's clear now.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Now in general one could say, right, until the inevitability, until what? Inevitable or inevitability of the occurrence of the what? Effect. Occurrence what? An effect. But nothing can be posited as a cause. Actually?
Yeah.
That's clear?
Yeah.
Much error. What? Until what?
Until the inevitability of the occurrence
Of the effect.
of the effect, then the cause can be.
Nothing can be posited as a cause. Because for something to exist as cause is dependent on having effect.
Yeah.
It's clear now. Right. Similarly, yes. Similarly, Rosie, can you make now in reverse way?
Yes, similar like in order for the cause to exist,